Back in 2017, when Call of Duty WW2 was released, I really had no interest in playing it, let alone paying for it. But when it turned up on PS Plus this month, I was pleasantly surprised, not least as it had dropped a whole week early off of the back of May's disappointing games. Now, I'd given up on the COD series well before this one, mainly as they'd become less immersive and more like a tedious fairground ride that's rehashed every so often to make more money. And after seeing all the reviews showing loot boxes falling from the sky during the gameplay and completely ruining the movie-like experience, I felt totally justified in keeping my money in my pocket. But after finally playing the campaign and discovering that all the loot boxes are now gone, has it turned out to be any better than I'd first expected, and have I been too harsh on the series? Let's find out. So this time around we step into the shoes of Private Daniels, and this is his small band of brothers, who throughout the game will keep you stocked up on supplies. Oh, and your sergeant is that bloke off of Transformers, but he's not so friendly this time though. The opening sequence is stunning to watch, and it feels as though Spielberg's original vision for Medal of Honor back on the PS2 has finally been realised, and I guess it really should have been given the $500 million budget this game had. It has to be said though that this game is definitely not for kids. The first cutscene of landing on the beach is very graphic, and of course it has to be to portray the horror experienced by the Allies that day. Then you realise straight away that they've added a bit more realism to the gameplay too. No longer can you regain health by taking cover, so you have to be much more careful not to get shot. Also, reloading some of the heavier weapons takes an age in the heat of battle. It's so easy to die during the process, but it is worth it. It's not long though before you have to repeat the process all over again. Health packs can still be found around the maps, but if you need one quick when pinned down, you have to wait till Zussman has a pack ready for you. This is the first squad ability you unlock by performing heroic actions. Every level has moments where you can choose to save squad members, drag the injured to safety, or even spare German lives if they're surrendering. I like that there's this option, not to just kill everyone, and it's great that the game rewards you for it. The vehicle elements of the game are pretty awesome, and there's even a Doomguy style helmet scene. It's so much fun demolishing buildings with a tank, and there are moments that reminded me of the movie Fury, where you're playing cat and mouse through bombed out streets with German panzer tanks. And the aerial dogfights were really impressive too. Defending the Allied bombers from enemy planes was a nice break from ground battles, and it looked amazing. Now back on the ground, there are a couple of times when you get to commandeer anti-aircraft guns and blast enemy planes out of the sky. It was quite easy, but I still loved it. Without a doubt though, my favourite chapter was Liberation. Playing as a French resistance member, you have to infiltrate the German headquarters in Paris. Remembering your cover story is essential. During your search through the building to find your contact, you are repeatedly challenged and questioned by German officers, and you must remember the details so as not to blow your cover. This role-playing element makes each encounter quite tense, and sometimes the danger feels very real.
Ich habe Sie noch nie gesehen. Darf ich fragen, was Sie an meinem Fenster zu suchen haben?
In Ordnung.
Schnapp den Spion!
After finding your contact and switching cases, this chapter then becomes a bit of a stealth game as you sneak out of the building and set the explosives to signal for the assault on the garrison to begin. Once that starts, having the voices of the resistance running alongside you really adds to the adrenaline. This last push to retake the city really reminded me of playing the Saboteur on PS3, especially seeing the people celebrate the liberation at the end. Of course, there's still a long way to Berlin from this point, and the game has plenty more to offer along the way. It's an action-packed 12 chapters altogether, and should take around 8 to 10 hours to complete, as the lack of health regeneration does mean you're going to die quite frequently. The story never shies away from the horrors of war, and does a good job of putting us in the shoes of the soldiers throughout every scenario, and is a fitting tribute to all those who lost their lives to bring us the freedoms we now enjoy 75 years later. Now, I'm not going to review the multiplayer, as being an 80s kid, I grew up in a time when that wasn't even a thing. But I am a bit partial to a zombie game, so I have checked out this version of Nazi Zombies. Unusually, there's a playable prologue, and surprisingly a stellar cast for what's essentially a fun little arcade game, with Ving Rhames, former Doctor Who David Tennant, and Elektra from Daredevil. But I've got no idea who this one is. So after an explosive intro, we're on our own now and have to make our way to the farmhouse. Sorry about that, I just couldn't resist including that one. So the game introduces you to the Jolts for Progress system, which is basically the more zombies you kill, the more credits you earn to buy upgrades and open doors, etc. And once you finish the prologue, you can then choose your player, and being a fan of Doctor Who, it was a no-brainer. And his dialogue doesn't disappoint.
Oh, but it hurts so good! Fuck off!
One thing that is missing here though is the ability to board up the windows. Now that may annoy previous zombie fans, but I think it's just to keep you on the move and not hold up in one place. Each wave obviously brings faster and nastier zombies to harass you whilst you're trying to complete your tasks, but it's never annoying, and I have to say I really enjoy playing this version of Zombies. All in all, to be honest, I'm very happy that this game came to PS Plus this month. I still think I wouldn't have paid launch price for it, but I actually loved the campaign, as it was a pretty solid blockbuster with immersive gameplay and lots of great elements throughout to keep it interesting. And it has to be worth a good 8 out of 10 for me. So I hope you enjoyed my review, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.